Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my rheumatoid arthritis journey, specifically my natural healing journey that led me to remission. I am doing a series of all things rheumatoid arthritis, so if you like this video or want to just hear me talk more about my journey so far, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. So I'm going to try and break this video up into parts. The first part is going to be supplements, second diet, and third is going to be lifestyle. So, and I will briefly talk about why I've decided to go the natural route as of now. So I definitely don't have anything against medication and things like that, but I always want to try the natural route for things because one, I've had success with natural remedies many times for like a myriad of different things. So I do believe in it. And obviously I've already gone into remission before, but although right now I'm out of remission, which I'll talk about at the end. But anyways, so there's that. And then also because I really did not want to take birth control, honestly. And with methotrexate and all of that, you are required to be on birth control. But I spent so long just trying to get my hormones and things in order. Like I really didn't want to take birth control along with the other medication like prednisone. I just didn't want to do that. And then lastly, obviously I've heard of the side effects that come with specifically the methotrexate cocktail. And I just felt like for now it wasn't worth it. Like I would rather at least try the natural methods first. So that's my personal reasoning. Lastly, I feel like there is something going on in the body, specifically because autoimmunity is like such a random thing. It's like, oh, one day your body just starts doing this. Like that doesn't really make sense to me. So that's why it makes more sense to me that there is something triggering it rather than like, you just woke up one day and your body started going haywire. But yeah, so let's talk about supplements. So I was pretty much taking a range of supplements. It's going to seem like a lot. It is a lot, but they were all addressing kind of different things. So I had supplements that were addressing my gut. I had supplements that were directly studied for rheumatoid arthritis, and then some other supplements for overall just like well-being. So starting with the gut related supplements, just to address any possible bugs that I may have had. I've also suffered with candida in the past, H. pylori, so I know that my gut is, sensitive, and these things do, really affect the overall body and how it's running. So the first thing I was taking in regards to my gut health, which I think is major in rheumatoid arthritis healing, is L-glutamine. So L-glutamine helps to coat the stomach lining, and in case you're having an inflammatory response to food or allergies and things like that, this is going to be really, really helpful. Also, in relation to that, I would juice cabbage, green or purple cabbage, organic, cleaned very, very well, because it's a very high source of L-glutamine. If you're dealing with H. pylori or ulcers or things that you might feel like are like leaky gut and stuff like that, I feel like juiced cabbage is literally a miracle, a miracle worker. So L-glutamine and juiced cabbage, I would group as the same thing, but I was doing both. Next, I was taking oregano oil. I would do a course of like 2 weeks oregano oil. I had the already supplement version. They were already diluted and stuff like that. I was also taking grapefruit seed extract. This is more to address any candida related concerns. And I was also taking, probiotic. I researched deeply the strains that I wanted and made sure to have simple strains, like not one that has a million different things. Like I focused on specific strains and found probiotics that are mostly that. And again, high quality and high in billions. That's another thing. When you're healing, you can't just look for the thing that is recommended for daily for any old body, right? Like we need healing amounts of things. So when you're looking for a probiotic, a lot of times the ones that you'll see that are common are like 2 billion but we're trying to heal something. We need to get up to like 20 billion, sometimes 50 billion in strains, like for us to really see results. So these type of details when you're on a natural healing journey truly do make a difference. That's why, like, again, intentionality and research are going to be make or break. Next, in regards to the arthritis specific supplements, I was taking omega-3, a lot of omega-3, and again, looking for omega-3 with high EPA, high quality. I was taking niacinamide. Boswellia I was taking, but not very consistent. I wasn't really sure that I was seeing any like results with that, but every now and then I would take it. And then turmeric I was taking. At the time, I wasn't using the turmeric or curcuma that is actually recommended. That's the thing. So in the scientific studies that they've done with curcuma, they use curcuma with Mariva. And I feel like a lot of people say they don't really see any difference with curcuma, and that could be why. So at the time, I was just taking a regular turmeric with black pepper supplement. I think that's it for the arthritis specific supplements. For the general health, I was taking a vitamin C supplement. I was taking milk thistle, which is also really, really important, especially when you're taking things like oregano oil or things that are possibly causing some sort of detox. I think that's it for the general. I'm sure there are some other things that I'm forgetting because, like I said, I was taking quercetin bromelain, and that is for any sort of like histamine related reaction, which is related to the gut. But that's another thing that I was taking that I do think is really pivotal in my routine. And every now and then I would drink ginger tea. I would drink a detox tea, like with different herbs and stuff, or I would take a lymph node tonic and these sort of things. Sometimes I would take black charcoal every now and then, again, to kind of help my body get out whatever it might have been doing. So those were the supplements that I was taking, and I do feel like they're so important. So the next thing is diet. Diet is also going to be make or break. You can have all the supplements in the world. You can be so like dedicated with the supplements, but if your diet is trash, I'm sorry, like I really don't think that you'll be able to make progress or be able to heal, because people don't believe this or they don't want to hear it, but diet does have a huge effect on the body, and I feel like how it is reacting and dealing with things. So again, this is going to seem like a lot. It's going to seem very intense, very strict, and it is, especially if you're coming from a typical standard Western diet. This is going to be very hard, and it takes truly like mental dedication and timing. I would say you need at least 3 months where you're extremely strict, but don't be too hard on yourself. Like, as long as you get started, if you're, having a hard time in the beginning, just keep going, keep pushing through to hopefully get to a point where you are extremely consistent for at least a month, 2 months. So, and it's nice too with the natural, because you slowly start to see yourself improving, and that motivates you to, want to stay dedicated. So I think with diet, like that happens in the beginning, it's hard, but then you start getting excited, you start feeling amazing, and then you start wanting to be dedicated. So in terms of diet, I basically cut out all added sugars, all high fruit sugars, so no bananas, no mangoes, none of that. Honestly, the only fruits that I would have would be berries. I had 0 alcohol. That's super important. Completely cut out alcohol. No wine, no nothing. Just cut it out. I personally don't eat meat, but I do eat fish. So my main source of protein was sockeyed salmon and sardines. Even eggs, I wasn't eating, because eggs and dairy both, I wasn't eating. Eggs, for some reason, like caused me like acne and stuff like that. So that's why I cut those out. And then dairy is just, it's not great for iron absorption and just overall, like, it can cause an inflammatory response. So I also eliminated that. I would have Greek yogurt every now and then, so that is dairy, and I was eating goat cheese actually, because goat cheese has less lactose. So actually I was having dairy. So I wasn't eating any like gluten or, you know, carb heavy foods, like no white potatoes, no white rice, these type of things. Every now and then as a treat, I would have like a slice of sourdough toast, but otherwise I was using buckwheat flour, coconut flour, almond flour to make my bread replacements or carb replacements, like buckwheat pasta and stuff like that. Buckwheat is like my staple carb, and I really like it. I enjoy the taste. So I don't really feel like I'm missing out in any way in terms of that. So yes, I pretty much was eating grain-free, anti-inflammatory. I also, of course, tried to have as many vegetables as I could. So on days that I, you know, didn't want to cook or prepare vegetables, I would try to have green juice or something like that, not including apple and stuff. And what else? Also just drinking a lot of water, staying hydrated. But yeah, basically just trying to have a whole foods diet with no processed foods, no fried foods, super oily foods, things like that. So I think the most important is no sugar. You can use monk fruit as a replacement, and no carbs, like no potatoes and breads and stuff like that. Sweet potato and pumpkin I would have. And I also was fine with beans, but I know some people cut out beans. So I think it kind of just depends on how you feel. A lot of people that do the natural route, I think they start with a fast, like a 3-day water fast or juice fast. I think I had tried it, but I didn't make 3 days, I'm sure. So yeah, you can also look into that. I think I was also intermittent fasting. So eating during certain times, not eating too late. So yeah, that was my diet at the time. And like I said, I was very strict. And I think that's why I was able to get into remission, because I was not messing around. So now let's talk about the lifestyle things that I did. With rheumatoid arthritis, even though this is going to be one of the harder things to do because of the pain and stuff, you have to continue moving. You have to be stretching. You have to be using those joints. Otherwise, it's going to be so much easier for them to lock up and for your mobility to just actually decline. So I was doing physical therapy for some time, but at home in the mornings, I would just wake up and move my hands, move my neck, and do things like that. And I feel like it's really important if you can go out and swim or just spend some time walking. These are all really good things to keep the body moving, which is so important. Oh my gosh. Also, a supplement that I forgot to mention for sleep, which I do now, I take magnesium glycinate, and that really helps with my sleep. Sleep is so important. You have to be prioritizing getting a sufficient amount of sleep so the body can recover and, you know, do its thing in that way. And sleep deprivation is also a good way to put yourself in a flare or to make flares a lot worse. Another thing, if you can, is doing the sauna. I had a sauna blanket because I wasn't able to get into a dry sauna where I was. So I used my sauna blanket most days, and that was really nice. It's also feels nice because for me, heat is very helpful. So being able to take a hot shower, getting in the sauna, a jacuzzi are all very helpful things for me. The other thing with lifestyle is, again, focusing on your mental health, because if you're depressed or very anxious or very stressed, again, that's more weight on the body and it's a lot harder to heal when you are in that sort of state. And I know it's very difficult because it is a stressful, anxiety-inducing and sad, difficult time when you're ill. But managing that is also super important. So maybe doing things like meditation or, if you're, religious, like praying and reading your Bible or Quran, whatever it is that you're into that could bring you some peace. And yeah, also in regards to that, like understanding that people around you are not going to get it. They're not going to get it. It's an invisible illness for a lot of people for a long time. And I found that it was a lot more stressful and a lot more painful for me trying to get people around me to understand and empathize with me rather than just accepting that they won't. They can do the best that they can. And yeah, so trying not to be too hard on yourself or feeling like you're lazy or you're disappointing or anything like that if you can't hang out or do certain things. Like you have to really focus on yourself during this time, put yourself first. That is so, so important. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the bulk of my natural healing journey. So I did that for about 3 months, all of everything that I just talked about, and I went into remission. And about 6 months later from starting that routine, I was 100% back to normal as if I had never been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And I stayed in remission for about a year and a half. And during that time, after about 3 or 4 months in remission, I started going back to eating whatever I wanted and kind of just doing whatever. So yeah, I was in remission for about a year and a half, living as normal, back to eating whatever. And unfortunately, I came out of remission. Now it's been about 6 months that I've been out of remission, so I'm back on my routine. This time around, it has been a lot slower progress, but I will be honest, specifically when it comes to diet, I haven't been as strict as I was the first time. But I am managing my rheumatoid arthritis a lot more this time, I think because I just know how things go. And I've been refining the routine that I've talked about. So yeah, anyways, comment below, let me know your thoughts. And if you've tried any natural remedies that have helped, and also subscribe because YouTube is going to start making it harder. So yeah.